meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Here's the agenda, Joe. Thanks. And minutes from July 16th.
I would move to approve as written.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from July 16th. Is there any further discussion? None appearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I don't see any road encroachments. Union contracts. We've come to agreement with the courthouse people, the road people, and the sheriff people, if I'm correct.
And I put a copy of that email there.
The official notice.
So since we have a collective bargaining agreement that's in effect until June 30th of 2021, we do not need to rewrite a contract. You just need notice that the union, it was a wage opener in the contract. You just need an official notice, and that's what that email is. Official notice that we've accepted the negotiations, the terms and conditions as they were negotiated, and we're just moving forward with the collective bargaining agreement we have.
Okay, and then the other day on the phone,
Right, so
you were talking to Joe and wondering about making it retroactive.
yes, so I understand Joe, talking to Joe, and trying to work out the retroactive thing was that we've had times when contracts have drug on a little bit longer. It's generally not the courthouse and it's not the sheriff's office. It's generally the road and bridge and the commissioners. Obviously, I've been around since 2007, so I've dealt with a lot of different commissioners. But over time, we have been able to complete the contracts for a couple of the units, but you guys have held off on approving those contracts until either the union came forward and said, hey, let's get these contracts approved, or you just wanted to approve them all at the same time. And that's caused a lot of retro and a lot of work for the county to get those payments out to the members. We've always done retro in the past. Hasn't really been an issue. This time it's an issue. Right now, we're requesting that you make that a retro payment for the dispatchers' differential pay that we increased from 52 cents to $1. And we'd like to see that retro. And generally, when we have done contracts in the past, because your pay period runs from June 20th, let's say June 26th to July 25th, that's how the pay periods run. We're asking to have that retro from that period of time. The timelines really for what went on and how we got into negotiations and how everything was ratified happened with COVID being what it was, the state being shut down, not being able to have meetings and stuff like that. I sent our opening letter in March. We sent the proposals on June 7th, and then we were able to meet on June 24th. Well, June 24th is the day before the time or the pay period ended for the period of time where, I'm sorry, July 24th. We met. Wait a minute. No, we met June 24th. So the pay period started on June 26th. We notified you guys we met on the 24th. We notified you on July 16th and said, hey, look, everything's been ratified. Everything's good. That's the date of the email that you have. That's the official notice saying everything's good. Unfortunately, had we got that to you on the 15th, well, we couldn't even got to you on the 15th because you have a notice period of when you have to notify the public that you're bringing this forward. So those kinds of things have to be waited on. So we're just asking, saying, there are timelines that have to be met. Since we didn't meet till the 24th because of all the COVID stuff, we're requesting that you make that a retro payment. We're talking about approximately $100, 173 hours, at 8 hours a day, at 48 cents. It's basically, I put a pencil to it, it's about $83 is what that retro payment is. My other question and it would probably be more of a payroll question, is that talking to Debbie, she says she's got to go back, make those adjustments in the pay, and then do the PRS payments and that kind of stuff on that. I don't understand why that is, because if you make that payment, we're talking about 5 people, a total of 173 hours, I believe, is the time that it is. They work 8-hour shifts, and the differential runs from, and I don't have the contract right in front of me, but I believe it's an 8-hour period. So we're not talking a lot of money here, but I don't understand why she has to go back and fix things in payroll going back that month when it's a retro payment and all your PRS and everything could be just done on that let's say it's $83. Could be done on the $83 in the pay period that ends right now. So we're talking, what's today? Today is the August 3rd. So in that next pay period, we're talking they missed just that 26th to the 25th is what we're talking about. Just that period. I don't understand why when you do that pay period from July 26th through August 25th, if you made that retro payment, it just goes on the check and the PRS is paid on it. It's a separate line item, retro pay, differential, and it goes on there. I don't understand the extra work that's involved in that. I do get it when you're talking the road, the courthouse, and the sheriff's department, that there's a lot of different people involved in it. But in this case, we're talking 5 people. We're talking about, like I said, about $83, and I just don't understand where that's coming from.
That's a PRS requirement.
That it has to be taken
It
back
has to
all
be
the way?
Yep, it has to be shown in the month and the hours that employee worked.
Worked or earned?
Earned it.
Okay.
Worked.
Okay, and then you had indicated going forward in return for going retro this year, next year being through the contract languages.
We can talk about that language and put that language in the contract. I'm okay with the retro. That's not the problem. We get into certain times like this COVID that you can't do anything, but I open the contract, Jen, I have to open it at least 60 days prior to the thing. Sometimes we have trouble. I mean, you guys have schedules, we have schedules, you have different meetings. We don't always get to the table as soon as we'd like to get to the table. So that's really why we don't get them ratified as quickly as possible. And then there are always issues where the members aren't satisfied with the answer from the commissioners, so they want to come back and we meet more times. And that's really what extends these things out. It's not our first 1 or 2 meetings. Those seem to be going fine. We meet timely, would you say?
Well, on the other side of the coin is our budgeting system. We don't really know. We don't have an idea of where we're at until July, middle of July, end of July.
Right. So
it's just a.
So to not do retro when you don't really know where your budget is, how do we not do something like that? I meet with a lot of counties and it's the same thing. I'm right now doing a contract with, it's a combination contract with 2 counties and a city. And they're telling us the same thing. They're saying, hey, look, we're really not going to have everything done until September. So we're fine with retro because we won't even know really where we sit until then. And part of this year here, again, who knows how many people are going to pay their taxes because of what's going on with COVID and how many people are out of work, those kinds of things. So you don't really know how much money you've had come in. There's lots of different mitigating factors that say, hey, let's do this.
I think that the answer to that would be to not have any retro after the August pay period. We can always get it figured out by this pay period. So I would be okay with that. Anything after the August pay period wouldn't be retroactive. Anything up to the August, because that gives us time to work with our timeline. And that, I mean, does that sound fair?
That sounds fair to me. We can talk to the members and say, hey, look, this is what's going on. We need to get this thing done and meet as often and as soon as we can and do that to get it done. But then, like I said, that would be the only thing that would hold it up. As long as you knew in July, so when we met in August, we could have that done before that pay period ends in August.
It ought to be a doable deal if we just, in the language, put that it won't be retroactive beyond the August pay period. I would be okay with that.
Again, that's something we're going to have to negotiate in the next contract, but I don't have a problem with it. I'm telling you now, I do not have an issue with that. I get the idea that we have contracts. I've got a contract right now that's over a year old. but it's, COVID kicked in and we were doing a lot of different stuff. I just handed a contract, to an employer on my way up here that expired December 31st. We just got it done.
Yeah, that's not good for anybody.
No, it's not, but with this year and with the COVID and everything that's going on, we were meeting up till March, and then it was hard to have meetings. So that's really what it is.
Yeah, it's been a dandy year for
It's everybody, across the board. Yeah.
Paula's got questions, yeah.
Yep.
So, Jim, the only thing that I would request is that, you know, if it could be done by the 15th of August, I mean, that has to be the deadline, because it does take time to retro back, and if we say up until the end of the August pay period, you could give us that information on the 25th,
Yeah,
and
that's good.
that's, wow, that would be
That's
really
too
tough.
tight.
It is tight. So if you could put, you know, discuss in language maybe, I don't know, but something to think about.
Okay.
Not just the end of the, before the end of the,
End of the pay period.
yeah.
Right, and like I said, when we hit negotiations on the 24th, we were at the end of the pay period. I mean, it was over the next day.
And we can't do much sooner than that anyway, so that's, that would probably be good to delineate that in the contract.
I think so.
Being I'm not gonna be here next
Don't
Eugene.
quack.
Why?
Make some notes.
This is something we're gonna discuss in negotiations next
Well, I'll
time.
make the motion so it gets put in the minutes that I would move to approve the union contracts and do the wage differential retroactively with the understanding that we're going to work on language to make the retroactive pay only good until the August pay period, with the decisions being made before August 15th.
And that's all three contract.
Yes.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the union contracts, all three of them, with some language additions in there. Is there any further discussion? None appearing, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
So on a different note, the drug policy, which is something that the union feels has to be negotiated, even though it's a policy and not a collective bargaining agreement. The union's okay with the drug policy. Our only question would have been, who would the drug policy apply to? And it clearly states in that drug policy it is for CDL holders. So the union's okay with the drug policy. It follows the CFRs for the Department of Transportation, so we're okay with that.
Good.
And I have no problem with going on the record and we understand what it is.
Cool, thank you.
Okay?
You need a motion for that?
I haven't opened the hearing yet on the policy. Following the agenda, the budget hearing.
Do you mind if I go?
No,
That's
you're-
why I put you on the top of the DLC.
I appreciate it.
You bet, thanks for coming up.
Yep. You guys have a good
See
day.
you, Jim.
Stick it in my drawer if
Stomp on
Throw
it.
it out the window.
Okay. Get the right one here. Must be 2020-22. Nope. 21. And I'll open the hearing on this, and it's road and junk vehicle. And the road is an increase of 50,000. And the junk vehicle is an increase of $9,597.
Should be junk vehicle cap project.
Yep, you're right, sorry.
Okay.
And how much was that, Jim?
59,597 altogether.
Okay, 50 for the road and 9,597 for,
Junk vehicle
vehicle
cap
capital.
project. Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? So I will now close the hearing and we can Resolution 2020-21.
I would move to pass resolution 20-21.
One second.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2020-21. Any further discussion? None appearing. All in favor say aye. Aye. 22 goes right along with it, Paula?
Yes, that's just the transfer from the funds.
Okay.
The first one's increasing your budget line item, your appropriations, so then you have to transfer that money from to those.
Okay. So we've got resolution 2020-22. Did you hear all that explanation?
Yeah, I would move to pass resolution 20-22.
Second.
Any further? It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2020-22. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. That takes us to the hospital district dissolution hearing, and I will open that hearing. And we've got Mr. Coble sitting in to kind of keep us in line, and I have the Montana code sitting here. At any time after 5 years from the date any hospital district is created, such district may be dissolved upon presentation to the Board of County Commissioners of a petition signed by at least 51% of owners of property lying within such district as shown by the last completed assessment roll. That has been met. Upon filing the petition, the County Board of Commissioners shall set a time for a hearing the petition and shall publish a notice of the hearing as provided by code. And here's the hearing. Here's a letter from Mr. Coble saying that all the requirements have been met up to this point.
So, and we're gonna leave the hearing open for 2 weeks, Jim?
I don't think that we have to, do we?
Yeah.
We talked about doing it just to make sure that any public comment that is desired has the opportunity.
Yeah, I see no
It doesn't
problem.
hurt to do it.
Yeah.
I think we should err on the side of taking
Yeah.
more comment. It's a pretty big deal.
All righty, so this hearing will continue till our next meeting on the 20th for comment.
And I think we can take comment now as
Yep.
well.
Yep, we
And
sure
I
can.
suspect there's maybe people here that want to comment.
So,
Will there be
Is
public
this-
hearings then?
Yes,
Yeah,
There will be public hearings.
yes.
Jackie, this is the start of the public hearing, so they've opened it now.
Okay.
So it just stays open until their next action, so people can comment at any time between now and the next meeting.
Yeah, anybody can contact us. They can phone or email or
So you won't
whatever.
have an actual, where they can come like in Fairfield?
No, not in Fairfield, but there'll be another meeting here.
Okay, that's where it'll be.
so what you're doing today is setting a time for the hearing.
No,
no, we opened the hearing, we are in a
Hearing's
hearing
actually open
right now, and it will continue for 2 weeks
Oh, okay.
till our next meeting on the 20th.
And there won't be any in Fairfield.
There, you won't have any community meetings?
We hadn't planned on any at this point.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if anybody will come, but I think it would be nice to offer them.
And we might hear more comment after the account that comes out as well.
Yeah, I would suspect that we do.
So the comments will involve what the money is to be used for, or what will the comments?
They probably run the gamut of,
But this hearing is just for the dissolution of the district. If we get to the point where the district is dissolved, we do plan on having
Okay,
public meetings for input on how to spend the
okay, that's what.
assets.
So, and maybe you should make a copy of my letter available, but the board needs to consider three things in deciding whether to close it. Number one, whether the petition is sufficient. I've addressed that in this letter. Number two, whether the district has more debt than it has assets available to pay the debt. And number three, if there's good reason to dissolve the district. So that's what the commissioners need to think about. And this is why we're inviting public comment, so that people can talk about any of these points. Now, if they decide to close the district, it remains open for business purposes for 6 months. And during that 6-month period, the board needs to certify that all the debts have been paid. And then at the end of that, there's discussion about where that money can go. Or anytime during that 6 months, there's discussion about where that money can or should go. Does that make sense?
yeah, because that fund reverts to the county. And then it's at our discretion, I guess, where it gets spent.
Well, kind of, but if you'll remember, the board has already committed to spending that money on healthcare facilities in some fashion.
Yep.
So if there, well, I mean, one of the worries, Jackie, was that that money would go to road. And the commissioners have already committed that no, that will go to some sort of health facility. We don't know what that is yet.
Right.
Right. Thanks.
Yep.
All righty, so we'll continue that hearing for 2 weeks. And then we'll go into the policy hearing, which I will open. And we have a drug policy for as Mr. Stone said, that mainly pertains to the road people that have a CDL. And then we have, help me out here, people,
Employees book.
yeah.
And the reason to rewrite the policy was, I think the one we're working under now was 15 years old,
I think
older than that. And Mako had strongly suggested that we rewrite the policy to bring it up to speed.
So the majority of that policy is based on a Mako model policy. There has been some modifications that we did ourselves locally, and that is encouraged by Mako. The majority of it, however, has already been approved by Mako. Now, we have a drug policy that we hired a company to put together for us. And as Stone said, it follows federal guidelines for CDL drivers and drug testing. Now, what we'll do, part of this meeting, is to make the public and all the employees aware of, we have this new policy, give them the opportunity to review the policy, to give us input, to think about if something needs to be changed. So it's not just a surprise that we're telling our employees, okay, here it is, you have to live with it.
And along those lines, we've scheduled a public hearing on this policy for next Monday night at 5:30? In the
5
court-
o'clock.
5 o'clock in a courtroom, just so the employees can come in and comment. We've made the policy available to all the department heads to distribute to their employees, so they have time to review it. And like I say, we're having that public hearing Monday night in the courtroom for comment. So
Can someone give me the high points of what changes from your old policy to this policy?
They were minor changes. I don't remember, oh man.
So the older policy, Mel, was a lot more nebulous than this proposed policy. This policy contains more detailed guidance for department heads and for employees.
Does it,
Now, the drug policy, we didn't have one before,
Okay.
so that's new.
and that's just a testing requirement? Okay. Is there anything in the new policy that changes the working conditions or the conditions under which someone would be hired, fired, or disciplined?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not, other than better guidance maybe, but not conditions.
Okay, and then I'm assuming means we're having a meeting on Monday night that will continue this hearing.
Till the 20th.
Okay, so anybody have anything else on the policy? That takes us down to commission reports, and I have,
Are you gonna do that airport resolution?
that's why you guys are sitting there. The airport board is got a grant in process for snow removal equipment. And they sent a deal out yesterday that we have to have a resolution giving me the authority to sign that grant application, being the county is a sponsor of that grant. So resolution 2020-23 gives me that authority to sign that grant agreement.
Make a motion to approve the 2020-23 resolution for the airport.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2020-23. Is there any further discussion? Okay. None appearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Now we're at commission reports. And I have nothing to report.
Nope.
Public comment?
So the comments for the hearing for the hospital, will that come to the commissioners or to Joe Coble or both?
Could be either.
Okay.
And how will that be noticed? How are you notifying the public of that we do that?
Through the shuttle account.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some,
And Jackie, sometimes the people will call here, sometimes they'll send emails, sometimes they'll catch you in the post office.
Okay.
And if that happens to me, if I get caught in the post office or whatever, I just make a note of who I talked to and what their general comment was, and then I forward it to these guys.
Okay.
And whatever emails come in are public records, so they'll be made available.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
And thanks for your help with that petition.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
too. You
It was a lot of work. I'll tell
You
you.
bet, it was. We know that.
How many signatures do you guys have to get?
Oh, 18 something.
I can get that to you.
Sure, if you want to email me, that'd be
Yes.
great, Paul.
Just don't have it right off.
okay. Have anything else?
No, I would just reiterate from the commissioners, thanks for all the work you guys did and all, your whole group to bring this to a conclusion, so.
Needs to be done.
righty. If no one has anything else, we're adjourned. Thanks, Joe, for coming over.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Must be late for lunch, huh?
Look like I
Yeah,
missed any
no,
lunches.
it's like we could stand a week or two without any.